Greetings folks, and welcome to the visual spectacular that is Wastwater. I have never been here before. This is my first time here. Took a bit of a drive around. I was hoping to get off the beaten track a little bit, but unusually the best spots are actually where most people park, which is a little bit irritating because there's quite a few people around, but we'll make do. So today's visit is more about just having a look, to be perfectly honest. The weather conditions aren't ideal. There's quite a bit of cloud around and some broken sun, but it's quite warm. In fact, I'm regretting putting this fleece on, and of course that's brought a lot of people out, but today is more about looking than photography. Just looking and viewing, and so this video just might be footage of me walking around Wastwater and chuntering to myself, and if that's the case then fine. If I don't take any pictures, doesn't bother me in the slightest. Just the opportunity to be out here in the landscape is that's what it's all about, really, isn't it? So I'm literally just going to wander this piece of the shoreline, and I'm going to take you with me, and then I'm going to start to talk to you about what I found and why. So let's walk slowly down the shoreline. It's gorgeous. So I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. As you can see, I had no intentions of taking to the stepping stones. There really was not much point. Walking along the shoreline, there's plenty of foreground interest, plenty going on, but to my mind an awful lot of foreground interest, almost a sort of a random jumble, if you like. Whereas what I really wanted was just one clear, definite idea to lead the viewer out into the water and then across to the three mountains that are in the distance. And on this little island that I've waded out to is lines in the rock, faults in the rock, that sort of do push you out into the scene, and do push you across the lake. It's a shame I could do with the lake being a bit stiller to create a mirror, but that's not to be today. I hope you can hear me okay, because it is quite breezy where I am. Also, sat over here on this little island, I'm all on my own, which means I can talk to you guys without feeling embarrassed. So I'm just going to spin the camera around and point you and talk you through what it is that I've seen and the sort of thoughts and ideas that are going through my head, especially whilst the sun has come out. Okay, so here's my scene in front of me. I've got this fissure here in the rock, which I'm trying to use as a leading line, and then I'm being taken out to these 3 peaks. This one that's got cloud on it, and this one out here. In the description below, I'll stick the name of the peaks. I know one of them is Scarfell Pike, but I just don't know which one's which, because I've never been here before. But what I'm actually struggling with a little bit is the profusion of foreground. So bear in mind this is a 16 by 9 view, and it's landscape. Now the mountains out in the distance don't bother me particularly, especially as I've got this one coming down into the frame and this one doing the same down into the frame. What bothers me is this here, and to some extent that as well, although it is a triangle, so it's helping to point the viewer into the scene. So the way that I'm choosing to address the foreground issue is to shoot portrait. So my frame, let me just look at my camera, starts sort of here and then finishes sort of here, and that thereby restricts some of this. It also means that this fissure, and as you can see I've actually got the camera set to one side, so this fissure here is actually cutting straight through the bottom of the frame, not quite left corner to right corner, but hopefully enough to lead the viewer out to the mountains, but not just linger on the mountains themselves. I've also used a polarizer to try and take a bit of glare off the water, and just make it a little bit more interesting and not quite so boring. So, and it's a nice deep blue. So I'm going to take that as it is, but as I was framing it up, it suddenly occurred to me that I wonder whether it would look stronger as a square. And the reason for that is it's exactly the same issues that I was talking about, trying to remove some of this foreground, but also some of that as well. So shooting portrait, I've got an awful lot of sky up above, whereas really the bit of the sky that's interesting is that's just above those 3 peaks in the distance, not necessarily all of that. So I think a square is worth a go. I'm just going to give that a quick go now, although the sun's just come out behind me. The light though that's dancing on the fells is absolutely beautiful, especially now the bracken has started to turn brown. Certainly it looks really good on that hill on the left, and I will actually just wait for these canoes to come through and save me a cloning job a little bit later on. Right, so as you can see, I've now moved back to the down the shoreline. In fact, this is where a couple of other photographers were gathered when I first got here, and they were using this collection of foreground rocks here to act as hopefully stepping stones to move you up towards the view in the distance. But from here there are a couple of things that irritate me. A, the beach, and B, all this blank space in the water, and I tried all sorts, even getting into the water. Ooh, my feet are getting wet. actually trying to get on top of a rock. So if I step on that one and then get on this one, then again trying to use, you know, these stones to then lead you to the mountain in the distance. But again, you've got this blank space over here. So let's just get back onto the dry land, move around again. I actually there's a nice line of stones here, look. So I got on here, tried to come out into the water. It's a little bit better, but nah, don't work for me. So came a little bit further along. Also, I didn't want to go portrait here because I think with portrait you just end up with a lot of rocks in the viewfinder and not a lot else, and the image becomes more about rocks than anything else. So bear in mind this is a 16:9 frame, so the edge of my frame is around about there, and then it's coming in here as well, sort of about there. Now I've got a profusion of rocks in the distance. I've got these two little triangles here, hopefully pointing the viewer out towards the triangles that are out here in the distance. There is a sort of a stepping stone kind of appeal going on, and there's an arrow here, look, sort of, if you can follow that line, that again is kind of pointing you all in that direction. In fact, the light has changed. Whilst you look at that, let me just take a look through my viewfinder. Enjoy the view for a moment. Why won't that change? Here we go. Yeah, interestingly, I've excluded those two from my frame. I think I ought to include them because again they act as pointers, and it actually then removes some of the non-interest that's up in the sky. So I've already taken a couple of frames there. I shall share those with you now, and I'll also reposition to include those two and share them with you as well. Okay, that's a wrap for Wastwater. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Certainly unfinished business for me. I think I'd like to come back here when it's really dull and grey and angry and moody and drizzly, and do some pinhole photography here as well. I think that would look absolutely chuffing awesome. If you enjoyed it, please do consider subscribing and hit the bell button as well, so you'll be notified of when new content is added. I'm aiming to upload at least once a month, but at least when I do, you'll be informed. Thank you once again, thank you for watching, thank you for your attention. Do enjoy your photography, and until the next one, I shall see you soon. Take good care. Bye for now.